Carrington later posting to Threads, tagging Cunningham's team, the Indiana Fever, saying, quote, "White privilege."
DiJonai with another signature move yet again versus the Valks tonight.
And then she put both hands up.
Damn. What is she doing with her left hand? Look at her left hand. Let me just poke you in the eye real quick. What is this goofball, uncoordinated individual doing, poking somebody in the eye with their hands up?
Adam Silver is now being pulled into the controversy surrounding DiJonai Carrington after her flagrant 2 foul on Sophie Cunningham. Carrington was ejected, but the bigger question is whether the incident could bring additional league discipline.
Expansion was discussed both at a committee level and at the board, and ultimately the league office was tasked by our board with doing an in-depth analysis.
Silver has already been involved in major WNBA discussions around player punishment. But what exactly did Silver do, and why is his name suddenly at the center of this controversy?
To right across the face, coming down, trying to prevent the layup, but that is just a hard hit. That's definitely going to be upgraded, I think, to a flagrant 2 run.
Here's the strange part. Adam Silver isn't the WNBA commissioner. That role belongs to Cathy Engelbert. So why is the NBA commissioner suddenly being mentioned in another WNBA controversy? Because Silver's name was already attached to one of the biggest disciplinary controversies surrounding the league this year. And that previous situation is exactly why fans are looking at the Carrington situation differently. When the Alyssa Thomas-Caitlin Clark incident happened, Thomas was later given a flagrant 2 and a 1-game suspension after the league reviewed the play. Then a report surfaced claiming Silver had pushed Engelbert to suspend Thomas after she initially wasn't planning to do it. That was a huge claim because it immediately changed the conversation from what punishment should Thomas receive to how much influence does Adam Silver actually have over the WNBA. The league pushed back against that report, and Silver didn't publicly take ownership of the decision. But the controversy stuck around, and now Carrington's situation has brought that same question back. Fast forward to the Carrington incident. A player gets a flagrant 2, gets ejected, and suddenly people start demanding additional punishment. Then the conversation moves one step higher. Could Adam Silver have a role in what happens next? Maybe he could. Maybe Engelbert and the WNBA handle everything themselves. Maybe Silver simply watches from the sidelines. But because his name was already connected to the previous disciplinary controversy, fans are now looking at every possibility. And that's what makes this different from a normal flagrant 2. We're not just talking about whether Carrington deserves another game. We're talking about who has the power to decide what happens after the initial punishment. And that question leads straight back to Silver. Silver has also spoken publicly about the WNBA's officiating problems. After the Clark-Thomas controversy, he talked about the need for better officiating and the intense attention surrounding Clark and the league. That matters because Silver isn't completely removed from these conversations. He's already been asked about WNBA officiating, he's already addressed the league's growing spotlight, and his name has already come up in a major disciplinary dispute. So, when another controversial incident happens, people naturally start wondering how closely Silver is watching. Is he simply commenting from the outside? Could his opinion matter if league officials are discussing discipline? Or could this be handled entirely without him? Nobody watching from the outside really knows. And that's exactly where the speculation starts. Imagine the WNBA announces that Carrington is going to miss another game. The reaction would be immediate. People would compare the punishment with the Thomas suspension, other flagrant 2 incidents, and previous disciplinary decisions. And then the question would come up almost instantly. Was Adam Silver involved? Now imagine the opposite. The league decides the flagrant 2 and ejection were enough, and Carrington doesn't miss another game. That would create another wave of debate, with people asking whether the punishment was too light. Either way, Silver's name could come back into the conversation. That's the strange position the league is in right now. Whatever happens next could send people right back to the same question. What exactly is Adam Silver's role? Joe Concha has also discussed the growing attention around Sophie Cunningham and how the conversation surrounding her has reached far beyond normal basketball coverage. His broader point is that Cunningham has become a major public figure, meaning anything involving her can quickly attract people who might not normally follow the WNBA. And that actually matters to the Silver conversation. The bigger these WNBA controversies become, the more pressure eventually lands on league leadership. Silver is dealing with a league that's getting more attention, more viewers, and more intense reactions to controversial moments. When something explodes like this, fans naturally start looking toward the people at the top. And Silver is one of the biggest names they can point to. The Carrington foul didn't happen in a vacuum. The WNBA has already been dealing with a bigger conversation about physical play, officiating, and how different incidents are handled. Caitlin Clark has been at the center of several of those debates, especially after the incident involving Alyssa Thomas. That situation became much bigger than one basketball play. Thomas received a suspension, reports about Silver's alleged involvement came out. The league pushed back, and Silver was later asked about the wider officiating concerns. So now fans are looking at Carrington through that same lens. They're not just asking whether the foul was serious, they're asking whether the league is going to follow the same standard it has used before. And once Adam Silver's name enters that conversation, everything gets a whole lot bigger. One controversial foul normally wouldn't bring the NBA commissioner into the middle of a WNBA controversy. But put this incident next to the Clark-Thomas controversy, the reports about Silver's alleged influence, the league's response, and Silver's public comments about officiating, and you can see why people are making the connection. Does that prove Silver is involved again? No. But it explains why his name keeps coming up. And that's the interesting part. Sometimes the biggest question isn't something that has already happened. It's the question everyone is waiting to see answered. This is where things get tricky. Silver is the NBA commissioner, while the WNBA has its own commissioner and league structure. So any additional punishment for Carrington would still be a WNBA decision. But the previous controversy showed that fans are willing to question how much influence Silver may have when a WNBA situation becomes serious enough. Could Silver be consulted? It's possible. Could he offer an opinion? That's also possible. Could the WNBA make the entire decision without Silver playing a major role? Absolutely. And that's why nobody should pretend to know what is happening behind closed doors. But the fact that people are even asking tells you how much that earlier controversy changed the way fans look at WNBA discipline. And now there's another reason people are watching closely. Indiana and Chicago are scheduled to meet again, which means Carrington and Cunningham could be back on the same floor after everything that happened. Think about the attention that's going to be on that game. Every time Carrington gets close to Cunningham, people will be watching. Every hard screen could get replayed, every heated exchange could become a clip, and every questionable whistle could bring the entire discipline conversation right back. Because at this point, this isn't just about two players anymore. It's about what the league does when a controversial moment becomes impossible to ignore. And this may be the most interesting part of the whole situation. People keep asking whether Carrington should be suspended, but underneath that question is something much bigger. Who actually has the power to make that decision? That's why Adam Silver has become such a major part of this conversation. Fans want to know whether the NBA commissioner is simply watching the WNBA from the outside, or whether he can influence major decisions when the pressure gets high enough. The Thomas controversy made that question impossible to ignore, and now Carrington's situation has brought it right back. Silver may never explain what happens in private league conversations, but that won't stop people from asking. And honestly, that's what gives this controversy so much tension. So here's where we are. Carrington was ejected after the Cunningham foul. People are calling for more punishment, and now everyone is waiting to see whether the WNBA decides the ejection was enough. But hanging over the entire conversation is Adam Silver. He's already been pulled into a major WNBA disciplinary controversy this season. He's already spoken about the league's officiating problems. And now another major incident has people wondering whether he'll have a role again. Maybe nothing happens. Maybe the WNBA leaves the punishment exactly where it is. Maybe Carrington gets suspended. Maybe Silver has absolutely nothing to do with the decision. Or maybe there are conversations happening behind the scenes that the public simply isn't hearing about. And that's the part that has everyone watching. Because the next league announcement won't just tell us what happens to Carrington. It could also give fans another clue about how much influence Adam Silver really has when the WNBA is under pressure. So, what do you think? Should Adam Silver stay completely out of the Carrington situation, or after everything that happened with the Clark-Thomas controversy, is this the kind of situation where his involvement would make sense? Because right now, the foul is only part of the controversy. The bigger question is sitting above it. How much power does Adam Silver really have when the WNBA is under pressure?